Hello and welcome once more to this third part of a speculative presentation for June 2020, and in this question we are looking at examiners by hand. Question 1. Simplify 6 times 2 plus 3 to the power 2 minus 4. Here we just have to apply the knowledge of BODMAS, and that gives us a value of 62. The second question. Simplifying your answer to two significant figures on 3 decimal places gives. Here the first thing is to work with 0.05 times 1.4. Then the next thing is to work with 3.5 minus 0.75, and we do the division, and that gives us a value of 0.025, and according to the equation, to 3 decimal places and 2 significant figures. Which is a natural, a prime, and a real number expressed as a product of its prime factors. Here the knowledge of exponents is required, and the idea of prime numbers and prime factors. And when you look at all of what has been given here, the only alternative that gives us these results is the fourth one, because minus 7 times minus 5 gives us 35 and can be expressed as 5 times 7. Question 4. Due to power cuts, the temperature of food in the freezer at 5 a.m. is minus 10 degrees Celsius and reduced by 1 degree Celsius after every 1 hour. At 9 a.m. there is a power cut, then it starts increasing by 2 degrees Celsius per hour. What will be the temperature at midday? At 5 a.m. to 9 a.m. we have 2 intervals. It reduces by 1 degree Celsius per hour. So in this case, in the next 4 hours, we will have minus 14 degrees Celsius. But from 9 a.m. to midday, it increases by plus 2. So we have plus 2 for 3 hours gives us plus 6. So you have minus 14 plus 6, giving us minus 8. This is just about the number line. Question 5. Given that 1/5 of Jane's salary is equal to 1/3 of Mary's yearly house rent, if Jane's salary is 250,000, find Mary's monthly rent. The first thing to do here is to understand the equation, and according to this equation, a fifth of a salary, which is 250,000, is 50,000, while the friend's yearly rent or monthly rent is 50,000 times 3, because they say it's 1/3 of that. So the full amount is 150,000 for 1 year. Now the question requires us to give her monthly rent. Knowing that there are 12 months in a year, we divide the 150,000 by 12, and we have 12,500 francs. Question 6, make R the subject of that formula. Normally, this is a formula that you know for compound interest, and the first thing that disturbs us from having the value here is dividing both sides by C. So we have dividing both sides by C, we will have A on C to be equal to 1 plus R all squared. We take the square root of both sides to be left 1 plus R equal to root A on C, and when we subtract 1 from both sides, we have our value to be R equals A on C, that's the root minus 1. Question 7, Angelo weds Ina. Ina is at GMT plus 2 and Angelo is at GMT minus 1. The wedding is in Ina's hometown at 9 a.m. What will be the time in Angelo's town at this moment? Here we have to understand that Ina is 3 hours ahead of Angelo's time, because she's 2 hours ahead of GMT, while Angelo is 1 hour behind GMT. So she's 3 hours ahead of Angelo's time. So to have Angelo's time, just take Ina's time and subtract 3 hours, and that gives us 6 a.m. Question 7, a car drives from O to A due north for 3 kilometers and from A to B southeast for 5 kilometers. What is the distance of the car from its original position? With this question, it will be very important for us to draw. However, we have to note that when you're moving towards the north, that's you're moving upwards, and when you now move southeast, you are actually moving along, let's say, a hypotenuse. And the triangle that is formed by this point, OAB, is a right angle triangle if you sketch, and it's called a rat. Here, the distance or the side we are looking for is some sort of the adjacent side or the other side, not the longest side. And that gives us 5 squared minus 3 squared, the root of all of that, which is 4. And the result here is A. Question 9, we have the venue represents number of students who ate at the party rice and arrow. How many students ate at least one dish? The key in this question is at least one dish. It means somebody who ate something. If you ate something, you ate at least one dish. It doesn't matter how many more you eat. I'm looking at the vein, just 16 people did not eat. So the number of people who ate at least one dish should be equal to 25 plus 11 plus 22, and that gives us 58. And question 10, we have Sina buys an 8,000 FCFA gown at a discount of 20% and sells it for 14,400 FCFA. What is her percentage gain? This question has a lot of trick in it. There are many ways to answer it, but you have to understand that the cost price in this question is 8% of 8,000, so 6,400 francs. And the gain is 14,000 minus the 6,400 francs, giving us 8,000. Therefore, the percentage selling price, which is given as the selling price divided by the cost price times 100% over 1, gives us 25%. There are other ways which you can approach the question, but it gives you the same value. Do not fall into the trick of 120% or 80% that is given somewhere else. The key here is B. You can get a copy of this paper by logging into our site, gcmathpanel.blogspot.com, and on the first page, you're going to see a copy of this paper, Black June, and all the other ones.